Annabelle, a young girl of 19, is eagerly approaching her birthday as she turns 20. She has many wishes that she hopes will come true. Her father, who happens to be one of the richest men in Delta State, is prepared to fulfill all of her birthday wishes. A party has been organized and invitation cards have been sent to both the privileged and the less privileged individuals to celebrate his daughter's special day. However, Victoria, Annabelle's mother's jealous stepsister, who is envious of her peaceful marriage to a wealthy man, is not happy about the extravagant event. Victoria herself is married to a poor pine wine tapper who rarely provides for her and her children. Although Deborah, Annabelle's mother, has been helping with the children's school fees, Victoria is still not satisfied. Her only wish is to destroy this peaceful family and become the second wife. How does she plan to achieve this? Having concluded to take any available routes to destroy the peaceful family, Victoria went on a journey that would see her plans successful. Udele can solve this for me, Victoria said as she proceeded her journey to Udele's shrine. It took her 3 days to reach there, as the place was located in a far, deserted thick forest. As she reaches to his shrine, Victoria, being a regular customer, already knew the rules guiding the shrine. She removed her sandals, clapped 3 times, and let out a loud scream before entering into the deadly shrine. She calmly seated on the wooden bench decorated with red wrapper, waiting for Udele to show up. Not long, a frightening strange figure appeared before her. His jaw was full of bears, his eyes glowing different shades of color, and his tongue twisting like that of a snake. Could this be the Udele she was talking about? What brought you here again today? Udele asked Victoria, who wasted no time in voicing her evil desire to Udele. I am the ocean that contains dead bodies, not fishes, the one who controls the thoughts of the disease, the father of the seas and ocean, Udele said, praising himself. Your request shall be granted. Take this bag, hand it over to the seed girl. This will mark the beginning of their downfall, Udele said, handing her the bag. Victoria, who was all smiles, began going away. On the day of the event, the venue is filled with people from all walks of life. There are several dance performers and a very famous musician performed too. To say that the event is luxurious will not be an understatement. It is now time for people to start presenting their gifts. Annabelle dad, Ken, gifted her a brand new car. Her mom gave her a brand new phone and many other presents that are more expensive than expected. Victoria approaches Annabelle and hands her a bag made of beads. It is an unusual gift as such bags are rarely used in this modern world. Annabelle accepted the gift happily, unaware of the disaster that awaited her. As soon as the party came to an end, Annabelle eagerly carried her stack of gifts and hurriedly made her way to her room. Overflowing with excitement, she couldn't wait to explore the surprises that awaited her. Let me quickly take a shower, then I will go for a little drive in the car Dad gave me, Annabelle charmingly announced, her dazzling smile adding to her beauty. Her intentions were to capture her exciting moments with her new car on a camera, so she could share them on a popular social media platform like TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. After thoroughly enjoying her refreshing shower, Annabelle slid into her most stylish gown and made sure to inform her parents of her planned outing. Initially, her parents hesitated, but Annabelle's unchanging persistence eventually convinced them to let her have her way. Grateful and beaming with gratitude, Annabelle bid them farewell and hopped into the car. Little did she know the joyous journey might meet a tragic end. Cruising along a lonely road, Annabelle deliberately chose this path as she had yet to master her driving skills and desired an uninterrupted recording experience. I should take out my phone now, Annabelle murmured, while reaching into the bag Victoria had early given her. She had purposely kept her phone in this bag due to its lightweight and portability. However, as she dipped her hand inside, a sudden sharp pain startled her. It seems as though the bag zip had bitten her. Confused, she raised the bag to find out. To her horror, a poisonous and horrifying long snake arose from within the bag, hanging its tooth onto Annabelle's tender face. Dumbfounded by agonizing pain, Annabelle's scream crowded the quiet air. Losing control of her car, she collided into a nearby tree, tragically losing her life in the process. The snake, far from finishing, continued its assault by mercilessly devouring her flesh, leaving nothing but her bone behind. Cunningly, it crawled back into the bag, disappearing into Annabelle's room, where it positioned itself amongst her other gifts. News of the fatal accident soon spread like wildfire, leaving Ken and Deborah, Annabelle's heartbroken parents, terrified. What shocked them was the frustrating realization that the car involved in the accident was the very one they had gifted their beloved daughter. Filled with a sense of urgency, they quickly made their way to the tragic scene, desperate to uncover the truth. Victoria, hearing the news, was extremely happy. She pretended to be sad and rushed to the painful scene where she had started rolling herself on the ground. Is this how I'm going to lose my niece on her very birthday? She screamed, pretending to be pained by her death. Ken and Deborah arrived at the scene. They were deeply wounded and immersed in pain. How could you do this to us, Annabel? Why will you leave your parents in this cruel world? Ken cried non-stop. They say men don't cry, but if tears could bring Annabel back to life, Ken endless tears would have resurrected her. But where is her body? Deborah asked Ken, who also seemed to want to ask the same question. Does this mean she was crushed inside the car? Deborah fainted at the revelation of not seeing her daughter's dead body, adding more sorrows to Ken's shattered heart. Victoria knew that if Annabel's body was to be discovered, it would easily be evident that something other than reckless driving caused her death. She smiled wickedly upon seeing her stepsister in an unconscious state. Let's rush her to the hospital, Victoria told King, who hurriedly carried his wife. Hurried back home to do some rituals. She had informed Ken that she would meet them at the hospital. As they said, a lion can never give birth to a goat. Victoria's first son, Andy, who was a complete disgrace, heard about Annabel's death and rushed to their house to see some items he intended to sell in order to gather money for his gambling addiction. That silly girl had a lot of expensive things in her room. Since they are morning and visitors are allowed there, let me use this opportunity to steal something from her room. Besides, she's no longer here to use them, and that fat gatekeeper doesn't have any other choice but to let me in, Andy said as he put on his shirt and headed to Ken's house. Here he encountered a lot of people who had come to offer their condolences to the deceased parents. Though Ken and Deborah were not present, the visitors patiently waited for them to return. Andy walked past them and made his way to Annabel's room, carrying a nylon bag in his hand. He began his search for treasures. As he searched through the room, he noticed the gifts placed at the edge and walked towards them with the intention to steal. I know these gifts are valuable. I can make a huge profit from selling them, Andy added. Unbeknownst to him, the violent, dreadful snake that had made its way into the house comfortably is still inside the beaded bag. It had started making preparations to devour him. The snake patiently waited for its unsuspecting victim to fall into its trap. Andy opened the bag, expecting to find some jewelries, but instead he was met with something far worse than a treasure. The snake jumped at him and mercilessly bit him. As he screamed, the people in the living room rushed in, only to find his lifeless body on the floor. They were so frightened that they had to flee for their own safety. Victoria, who was on her way home to complete her mission of using her charm to kill Deborah, encountered a man who informed her of her son's mysterious death in Kane's house. She realized that her own plot had backfired and cried deeply. Look at what Deborah had caused me. If not for her foolish daughter, my son would not have died. This time, I won't show her any mercy, Victoria said as she hurried back to her house. For causing the death of my son, I shall have no mercy on her. Her death is approaching. When Victoria arrived at her house, she was consumed with anger. She forcefully swung open the door to her room and stormed inside. In a hidden chamber beneath her wardrobe, she brought out a small calabash filled with dark charms, a feather from hen, and a calabash chalk. Holding them up high, she began a frightening incantation that seemed to have no end. Using her evil mirror, Victoria was able to observe the state of her stepsisters. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Ken gently laid on his wife's bed, urgently calling upon the doctors for assistance. Concerned about her sudden unconsciousness, the doctors questioned Ken, who wasted no time in sharing the tragic story. Despite the doctor's best efforts, all attempts to revive her proved unsuccessful. As the doctor withdrew from the room, he mournfully informed King that his wife's condition was beyond his experience. I have done everything within my power, and there is no improvement. Guess we have to look for another option, the doctor said, stepping out of the ward. Confounded by depression, King cried uncontrollable, thinking of what step to take next. Victoria watched through her evil mirror, a smile playing across her lips. She tried locating the charm that would ultimately end Deborah's life, but couldn't find it. Furious with anger, she lamented, I thought I left it right here. Frustrated and furious, Victoria blamed her useless children, suspecting they might have accidentally disposed of it. Nevertheless, she concluded to find another means, something that would quickly bring about Deborah's death. As far as Udeli Shrine was not an option. Lost in thoughts, Victoria paraded the room, pounding her next step. She contemplated whether to retrieve the evil bag from King's house and taking it to the hospital. Confused and uncertain, she thought to herself, should I go and get the evil bag from King's house? Will they suspect me? Victoria wore her sandal and hurriedly made her way to Ken's residence to obtain the bag. The gatekeeper, unaware of her intentions, opened the gate for her without questions. Inside Annabel's room, Victoria's anger deepened at the sight of her dead son lying helplessly on the floor. Examining the danger that lay within the bag, she immediately grabbed it and put it in a nylon bag, ensuring no unexpected move from the deadly snake. Departing King's house, she embarked on her journey to the hospital. Upon arrival, Victoria was directed to the ward where Deborah was being kept. Without hesitation, she entered, finding her unconscious sister lying on the hospital bed all alone. Looking around the room to ensure she remained unnoticed, Victoria inquired, "Where is King?" King had left his wife's side to seek assistance from a pastor. Seizing the opportune moment, Victoria joyfully exclaimed, "Great timing! I believe I shall use this opportunity to bring an end to her." She carefully unpacked the bag from the nylon, placing it beside Deborah. With a nod, she had discovered under the bed. Victoria opened the bag and instantly departed, leaving Deborah's fate in the hand of the deadly snake. As Victoria closed the door to the ward, her mind filled with desperate need to escape. But just as she prepared to leave, a voice sounded from behind, sending fear down her spine. "Sir, we need to be very fast before anything happens to my wife," the voice pleaded. It sounded similar to King's, and Victoria became consumed with fear, afraid of being caught. "If they ever see me passing here, they will know that I'm the one that kept that bag there. And my darling Ken might decide not to marry me," Victoria whispered to herself, quickly falling back into the ward and finding a comfort in a hidden shelter of the toilet. As she entered, her anger deepened upon seeing the snake still crawling nearby. "Why hasn't this stupid snake finished her yet?" she said, taking refuge in the toilet. The snake continued crawling around Deborah's bed, its eyes fixed on its intended victim. Just as the snake prepared to strike at the unconscious Deborah, Ken and the pastor entered the room. Shocked by the sight of the dangerous snake, anger poured within Ken as he questioned, "How come a snake is in a hospital? This is not right, and I'm going to sue this hospital." The pastor, filled with courage, boldly approached the snake and seized the snake by its throat before casting it aside. As he began to pray, Ken joined in the continuous prayer, filling the room in a powerful and spiritual pleading. The prayer became too much for the snake, causing it to run toward the direction of the toilet. It disappeared inside, leaving the pastor and Kim with a calm confidence. "The snake is still there, smiling with assurance," the pastor exclaimed. "I know. You'll be surprised by what's about to happen next." As he moved closer to the bed, he removed an evil bag that laid upon it, carefully throwing it on the floor. Frightened by the loud scream coming from the toilet, Deborah woke up, her attention drawn to the commotion coming from the toilet. "That sounds like Victoria's voice," Deborah said, attempting to make her way towards the toilet, only to be held back by the pastor. Worried to discover the cause of the disturbance, Ken and Deborah desperately awaited the pastor's return from the toilet. When the pastor opened the door, a horrifying sight met his eyes. Victoria, struggling for her life after being bitten by the snake that now seemed to have vanished into thin air, lay before him. She cried out, begging them for help. Out of compassion, Ken rushed forward, but the pastor again once prevented him from making contact. "This is the price she has to pay for her wickedness and jealousy," the pastor proclaimed. He proceeded to narrate the revelation shared with him by the Holy Spirit. Ken and Deborah were shocked, unable to believe the sad truth before them. But as Victoria shouted, "I did everything he just said. I was even about to kill this foolish Deborah here." Ken and Deborah was held back by shock and disbelief. Despite their steady support and kindness towards Victoria and her family, she had chosen to repay them with unspeakable evil. Within moments, Victoria's life was snatched away by death and the evil bag vanished into the thin air. Ken and Deborah, deeply wounded by the revelation of Deborah's hateful act, sought comfort in each other's arms. "It's well, dear," Ken whispered, holding his wife tighter as they mourned the loss of their beloved daughter. "In the end, the truth has prevailed, exposing the evil, dangerous game. You should be careful, beloved," the pastor cautioned as he departed the hospital ward. Ken and Deborah were left to struggle with the painful reality that Victoria, whom they had once considered a family, had been responsible for their daughter's untimely death.